Whoa, 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 whoa. 8 schools for the whole wide world. Today I wanted to talk about wizarding schools. And I'm talking about JK's wizarding schools. I've got some notes here. I'm not gonna be talking completely freely on this, but probably just gonna check the paper every once in a while. I just had to jot some things down because my memory isn't that great and I'm sometimes mixing stuff up. Partially, I have to say, I was really excited when the new schools were announced on Pottermore. I know this has been quite a while by now, and we all know about Ilvermorny and some of the other schools. The thing is, I went on the Harry Potter Wiki site to find out where I actually would have been placed would I have gone to wizarding school. I'm not too happy because we've got, if I'm right, 8 schools worldwide. 8 schools for the whole wide world. And let me just say this, it's not even a really small fraction of the world's population that's gonna be allowed to go to a wizarding school. All the rest will be homeschooled, said JK. And for some countries that makes a lot of sense, like those huge rural areas where it's like everything is like totally far apart. There it's quite common to be homeschooled. But in other countries, there's just literally no history of homeschooling. And I find it a little weird that someone like JK, who really goes out and researches stuff and learns stuff in so many ways from the cultures she puts her wizards in. Here, I don't see any resemblance. Like, here in Germany, for example, I wouldn't have any place to go. There's an exception, however, that I can allow. I'm gonna go into that in a bit. But literally, I would have been homeschooled. And here in Germany, it's like nobody is homeschooled. I don't know if it's even legal. I don't see why it would be that different in the wizarding world. And there's another thing that really bothers me, and that's that some wizarding schools, they take in different countries and large areas. And I don't get why not all of the wizarding schools do this. For example, and that's what I think is hilarious, I know there's been a lot of history with the 2 parts of Ireland, but like only Northern Ireland is actually allowed to go to Hogwarts, as far as Harry Potter Wiki says. I mean, can all be that some information is wrong, but I just relied on what I found there because it's usually a pretty good source. Let's just go through the list. They have an alphabetical list of all the schools. And the first would be Beauxbatons, which, as we all probably know by now, is in France. And allowed to go to these schools are the following countries. And I was quite surprised because some of them I wouldn't have expected them to be on the list. And allowed to go are France, Belgium, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Portugal, and Spain. They're taking quite a lot of people in. For example, I wouldn't have expected the Netherlands to be on the list, or Spain even. But apparently those countries belong to Beauxbatons. They will go to that pretty prestigious school that is even more ridiculous from everything that's inside there than Hogwarts. Like, I know a lot of people have talked about how much a tuition for Hogwarts would actually cost. Beauxbatons must be way more ridiculous. They have like fountains and singing nymphs and a whole lot of extravaganza, basically. And I don't know what the meals look like there, but since Fleur was basically ranting about how bad Hogwarts was, just imagine it. Just imagine it. Probably almost no one would actually be able to pay tuition. Still, so many people get to go, and it's for so many countries. I still don't really know how tuition fees work in the wizarding school world. I don't know. But since it's never mentioned, I would always assume it's free, but who knows? Next school on the list is Castello Broxo. Please don't kill me if I butcher the names completely, because I have no idea how they're intended to sound. Castello Broxo is in Brazil, and basically all of South America is allowed to go there. That means it's basically the counterpart for Ilvermorny. Bill Weasley actually wanted to go there, and he had a pen friend there, and because the Weasleys just have so little money, in the end he couldn't go. But his pen friend was so angry that he sent him some weird magic artifact that was basically haunting him. I don't really remember what it was anymore. That was just something I was reading while I was scrolling through the pages. So they seem to have exchanges for the different schools. That's something that is in this information. So we're a little smarter now. Durmstrang Institute is the next one on the list. And that's actually supposed to be in Scandinavia. This is the exception I was talking about, because Durmstrang takes international students, but mainly those from Northern Europe. So if I wanted to go to any wizarding school at all and not be homeschooled, I would have to go to Scandinavia. And I'm living in Germany. Just think about the distance for a second. Just think about it. Hogwarts lies in Scotland, but it takes Scotland, England, Northern Ireland, and Wales. So, the rest of Ireland, I'm sorry, but you can't go to wizarding school either. You're just sitting in the homeschool boat with me. Or you just, move the small distance as soon as your kids turn 11, so you're actually living in the right area for that. Yeah, Ilvermorny is the next on the list. That's the whole North American side. Next is Russia on the list, and I have no clue how to say this. Koldovstorets. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, people, but yeah, and that's for all of Russia. And then there's Mahutakuro in Japan, which takes in all of Japan. Uagada or Ouagadougou. I have no clue, but it's the African school, and it takes in all of. It's in Uganda, and it takes in all of Africa. Keep in mind that Africa also has Egypt in it, so it's quite a large space as well. So, really, if we think about it, if Beauxbatons can take in so many students, and Ilvermorny basically takes all of North America, Ouagadougou just takes in so many people, like all of Africa, how can you explain this to me, that schools like Hogwarts, they wouldn't take Germany in? It's pretty close, and I don't get it. Like, can't be so hard to make the school grounds a little bit bigger. I wish there would have been more information and maybe more schools, because as I said, I think it makes sense in a lot of rural areas for there not to be the option of an actual school to go to, but I just find it so weird that she introduces us basically to this whole wizarding world of schools and basically, to me, it was a normal thought for a very long time that wizards, they went all to wizarding schools, but that's just not the case. And I would like to have more information on the actual homeschooling, maybe some explanation for all of this. My problem with this, though, I think my biggest problem is that I think that homeschooling must be somewhat inefficient compared to all of the stuff you learn at Hogwarts. I mean, okay, of course, you have the fancy meals and all of the other cool stuff surrounding it, but homeschool wizards must be so much less experienced. And compared to their school counterparts, they must have so little knowledge, and I just can't really accept that that means that basically you would have a really bad education. And just think about it, if you would be a muggle born, who would homeschool you? Who? And how would you organize that? And that's my big question for today. How? How would I have been educated? It just leaves me so unsatisfied. And I'm usually never unsatisfied by that stuff that she says. I don't know if you can even understand me, or if I'm just ranting a little bit too much about this today, but this is just the question that I have, and I'm not feeling good about this. Okay. Whew. That had to get out. I'm sorry, and I didn't really sleep that much. I'm also gonna insert a little bit of footage of my makeup. I know that has absolutely nothing to do with it, but if you want to see a video on this makeup look right here, I could film a tutorial, possibly. I was actually about to, but I didn't notice my camera wasn't recording half of it, so yeah. But I would recreate it if anybody was interested. Anyway, just gonna insert that here, and finishing my Harry Potter rant for today. Yeah. Okay, that's it. Bye bye! Oh, and if you're new here, then I would be super happy if you would subscribe and of course like, so it just the video gets a little bit more reach, basically, because that's what's happening right now. And if you want to get notified about all of my new videos, also hit that bell button down below. And I would be really happy if you would check back in with me, because there's more Harry Potter stuff to come, and I'm also making videos about writing and a lot of other stuff, like my favorite books and so on. So bye bye.